Hey, hello. Welcome to the upstreamlife.com. I'm your host and founder, Vishal Krishna. I've got with me the lovely Daisy Tanwani, the founder of Pinklay. I'm going to tell you about the brand in a bit. We're going to be talking retail and why physical and digital retail is the name of the game today. Retail is $1 trillion opportunity in India, but D2C is still only $100 billion business opportunity. It's quite a large number. It's still 10% of the total retail opportunity, and it's growing. By 2025, it's going to be more than 6,000 brands that are going to be competing in India, and you consumers are going to be spoiled for choice. And Daisy is going to be part of that journey. She has built a brand that makes handcrafted women's clothing, including kids' clothing, home furnishings, and accent furniture. Is that Daisy? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Great. Pinklay uses a blend of D2C and branded stores to reach their consumers. Of course, Daisy has been an entrepreneur for 7 years now, and she says it's a gratifying journey, although it's been a frustrating one in parts. I know because I've been a founder for only 1 year, but she's been a founder for 7 years, and she's going to tell us all about it. Daisy, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I am very good. Thank you for having me, Vishal. I'm so happy to meet you.
Consumption is on the rise. I certainly believe that. Look, I started writing about retail in 2005, okay? And I used to ask myself this question, why aren't there many Indian brands? I could only count about three or four back then in 2005. And suddenly there's been a mushrooming of interest. Why is that so? And what's changed the whole deal today?
Well, because India is developing, it's growing, it's growing really fast. It is a young economy which has seen a leap in the last decade because of a lot of influences, be it your digital, access, be it more jobs. A lot of jobs have come in. Earlier, you only had one breadwinner per family of five, six, seven. Now, families are getting smaller and breadwinners are increasing. So, there is more money to spend. And if there is more money to spend, it's a simple supply and a demand and supply game, right? So, people ask, and more importantly, India has come of age. Indians have come of age. They know what they want. They are demanding. You cannot just go and whisk out anything and say, "Hey, take it." No, they know, and because they know, there are so many these brands in specific niches coming up to cater to that demand.
That's so well said. So you're basically saying we went from an economy that was focused on securing the household
Yeah,
and basically now saying, okay, I've arrived because we are not just one or two breadwinners in the family, but we are several.
yeah, yeah,
Parents can be as young as 55 today, and the kids can be earning as well, right?
yeah, absolutely.
And that's fantastic. Do you think the change in the way India moved from this laptop generation to the smartphone world immediately, did that have a big play in how consumption's just increased and over the top? I mean, obviously we have the penetration of 4G, 5G with the likes of Geo coming over. Do you think that helped at all?
Of course. I mean, imagine me going to a Kirana store or me going to a supermarket, right? In fact, it's not too far back. I used to live in Gurgaon in 2010, 2008, 9, 10. Even in Bangalore, I've stayed for a year. And there were these beautiful supermarkets, which still are Spencer's and, Big Bazaar and all of those. And you had to still make a trip. Your entire supermarket is here. Your world is in this screen. I mean, it's a game changer. Just because it happened so quickly, we are not being able to grasp what really happened, but it is like a typhoon. You literally got the world in your hand, not just the freedom to shop, to choose, the freedom to pay, the freedom of returns, the freedom of convenience, everything. It's a game changer. And it's only going to become so much more exciting as the penetration becomes deeper and deeper with the likes of Geo and likes of Airtel going 5G services in every village of India. This is exciting. India is exciting.
Daisy, tell us about a little bit about how you became an entrepreneur. How did that begin? It's very important for me to know what motivated you to become a business person.
My first job was actually writing features for TOI, also
That's
for
some that's news to me. I mean, that's really amazing.
yeah, for
I,
Trade magazine.
that's
And
my bad because you know what? I was thinking all you entrepreneurs would probably go abroad, study engineering or something, and come back and do this. So that's
No,
hope
no.
for or that's hope for journalists who want to become business people. That's amazing.
Yeah, yes. So journalism is like, people look at it as, oh my God, it's a at the end of the day, it is inquisitiveness, it's curiosity, that it's wanting to know, right? So the underlining factor, so every time, even when I have kids, now I say kids, I mean, but when I have these 20-year-olds, 70-year-olds knowing, saying that, I don't know, what am I doing? I said, everything will add up. You wait, everything will add up. But anyway, coming to that, so I did
How did you go from being a journalist to an entrepreneur? That's fascinating. I mean, were
so
you from a family of business people or family of journalists?
no, no. I'm from a family of traders. I'm actually first generation businesswoman, and journalism had absolutely nothing to do. I come from a fairly conservative family from Jaipur. My 17 years was spent in Jaipur, and then I went to Bombay because I wanted to study media. And I studied here, and then I went on to work with the likes of Z Business, TOI. I did these little stints. Then, while working with a trade magazine, I coded, you can call it coding, just coded through Google and all of that, a newsletter. At that point, the newsletter was not, and I used to actually send it from Gmail. So I used to, attach it, write it, do all of that, and send it out. And I got interested in web. So that's how my first job as the web designer, web and content
So
designer.
that's how your twist with IT or something began. Okay.
So
Interesting.
there also, yeah, I was just trying to understand from the design and content perspective, not the coding perspective. Then I moved on to do what actually was always my calling. That is, I went on to do market research with Kantar. My biggest stint was with them. So that's where I worked with the likes of Coca-Cola, with your beauty brands like Oriflame, Shiseido, Denon. Eventually went on to join Denon as in their marketing team as a new product development manager. And that's when I said, okay, you know what? Now is the time that I want to actually do something, So I have a good 10 to 12 years of corporate behind me, with the likes of Denon and Kantar and Gartner.
How's it like working for a Coca-Cola or a Danone when you look at these big brands and how there are processes that a lot of the startup founders dream of imbibing within their company, right? But it's very difficult. Was that something that rubbed off on you that if I ever became an entrepreneur, obviously back then, 12 years ago, did you ever think that those experiences would actually help you?
500%. And how? And I think that separates Pinklay from a lot of startups that I know of. And I take a lot of pride in that. It's not just me. My husband, who also joined the company later, Mashrut, he's not here and went on to become the co founder. He joined about 1.5 years later. He also has 12 years of work experience in corporates in India, UK, US. Uh, so it's how we reflect on our people. The biggest influencer has been how corporates, at least the companies that I work with, so Coca-Cola used to service, but Danone I've worked, Kantar I've worked in, right? So it's how these companies treat their people, the policies, understanding. It's you see this office, we are a young company, but our office is beautiful, our spaces are beautiful, because the premise is that people should feel happy where they are going. It's not so, those seeds were actually sowed in our corporate career. Your offsites, work life balance, your security, your bonuses, your twice a year performance reviews. These are things that we learned there. And I'm so happy that I did not jump into corporate straight into entrepreneurship straight up, but did a corporate stint for two reasons. It gave me enough money in the bank to
Which is
to
something that many journalists always, want in their bank account. But it's good to know how you manage that.
yeah, so it gave me enough money in my bank account to not really downsize my living while I was trying to set up Pinklay. See, because Vishal, I don't have a sob story. Okay, I don't have a sob story. I'm a self-made person, 110%, without any privilege coming from parents, except the fact that, of course, they educated me made me who I am, but nothing to do. But we made enough money in our corporate careers and enough savings that we said, okay, we can give 3 years to making a company and see where it goes from there. So one, it really helps you do that, and so as an entrepreneur and as a young entrepreneur, you're anyway facing so much unpredictability. And imagine not having money in the bank. You'd be like, what just hit me? So that corporate stint helped us at least take care of that part. And the other thing that it helped was, of course, it taught me so much. It taught me so much. And I've said it so many times, so many times. You can be an entrepreneur in a job. Like all my jobs, I was given a budget. I had to manage a budget with agencies, with GRPs, with this, that product, So it's a mindset. It's not a platform.
You're a journalist. Why did you leave journalism and become a business person?
If I want to do something, no, I want to do it like really well. I don't want to do glossy paid features. I want to do journalism. I want to like go on the war footing and just cover it. And like if I have to go, not so well paid anyway, at least leave a legacy, right?
Got it.
I didn't see either happening. So I'm like, okay, let's go and just do something somewhere. But to be very honest with you, journalism taught me. I wouldn't change a thing about. I wouldn't go and take a management degree, because what I learned in those 3 years in study was a lot of practical on-ground work. I learned what challenges of it's a very tough job. It's a very tough job.
I've done it for 20 years now.
Yeah, it just makes you so thick-skinned. So I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Great. So how did Pinklay happen? I mean, obviously that corporate job gave you enough savings, and you said you gave yourself 3 years. The fact that you didn't want to, D2C was just about starting at that point in time, but you decided to do, manufacturing on top of it, and you wanted to have control over the entire process of design. So now I want to talk about the brand quickly, its ethos, its values. How did it begin? Why do manufacturing when you could have just said, I'll outsource the design to somebody, I'll outsource the manufacturing. Obviously, manufacturing still can be outsourced, but the design also, you said, I want to own it in-house. Why did you do that?
Okay, so Pinklay started with just two things in mind. Okay, I'm a patriot. Like a big one. Okay, not in your like extremist way or in a very serious. But I love this country. I can go on and on about India. Every time, just to digress, every time I've gotten an opportunity to move to the US, UK, Singapore, Europe for work, I've said, "Nee, yeah, acha hai. This is good." But I traveled a lot. I still travel a lot on my work, and I went to the biggest retailers in the world. And the things that I loved back to India back then, 2010, 8, 12, to decorate my house, were all had this little sticker, made in India. And the question was, okay, made in India, but why not for Indians? That posed two very big things for me. That these manufacturers don't think that Indians are worth it. No, boss, that's changing. Because you know what? I'm paying so much luggage money and taking it back. So there are people like me, and I'm not even super affluent. I'm a corporate person who can comfortably live. So if that's my taste and that's my demand, and if that is what my affordability levels are, then why not for me in my home country? One is that. Second, we are art, architecture, design, we're leaders. We've always been. Yet we had been reduced to a manufacturing hub. Not taking that sitting back quietly. So that's when I said that, what, we're going to launch this. I know Jaipur very well. I understand hand block printing. Like I said, my father was into trading. I understand carpets. I understand a few of these things. And I think I have good taste. I believe I have good taste. So I'm going to, and I have some money put aside. I'm going to start. Okay. There was no sob story. My boss was terrific, so terrific that he said, think through this. My career was going very well. Nothing that I can see why I got bored or I couldn't report to anybody. No, nothing, none of that. I just said, no, here I want to do something. Is a challenge that I want to take it up and work with it and give myself some time. And then a traditional businessman told me something which I kind of hold to my heart. He said, if your business survives the first 365 days, you have something in you. He's like 90% businesses will fail in the first 365 days. The second 365 days with your second, your next 9% will go. It's if your business successfully completes 1,000 years, you are here for a long run. I kind of just held it very close and I said, 1,000 days to complete karna hi hai, chahe kuch bhi ho jaye. And that's how Pinklay started. It is a brand that very simply said the reason why we design our own is because we said that we want to take Indian handcrafts and give them a contemporary spin. We want to show the world that this is not just about sanganer and hand block printing. There is more to this. We are the runway variety. and that's how we took on design. We said we'll design. We were not manufacturing from the beginning, in all fairness. And we started with giving work to other people and all of that, and we realized that in the first year itself that there were quality issues, there were control issues, and that's not cool by me because as a consumer I'm discerning. I keep going back to the brands. I go back. I mean, there's a certain brand in the United States where I buy my jeans from. I buy 10 or 5 at one go because I don't know when I'm going next, and I keep going back to them for years. Now why? Because of their quality, promise,
I make the
everything,
same.
right?
I make the same process, or should I call it a mistake in a way? Because I end up buying a lot more, especially shoes in America. I buy a lot more shoes and I come back because of the quality. It lasts
It's not a
longer.
mistake. It's
Okay.
good. It's not a mistake. It's good.
So you did that and you'd come
Yeah,
back
I
because
did
the
that.
brand
And I said,
brand value is good. Get it? I get it.
I said, okay, fine. So I said that, we are going to control everything. So we're not going to invest into manufacturing 100%, but we will find somebody who already has processes set, but we will work so much in tandem that, so now we are a 5 floor unit, like we have a large unit in an export zone where a manufacturing happens with a partner in place. So it's not that we are doing manufacturing, but we have a partner. We have warehousing, we have packaging, we have printing. So everything is in that one unit. So we were able to find like-minded people who we work in so much in tandem that we control manufacturing so close that if you ask me what thread count, what is
Yeah.
getting printed, how much stock do we have or what, I know it all. So it helped. The other thing that forced us to do that was the design part. Plagiarism is a big thing in India. It's a big thing in India. And now, actually, to be honest, it's gone so far as we are concerned that we don't really, it hurts, but we don't really, but that was also the reason. Like even before the design comes out in the market, it shouldn't go to the local market. So that was also one of the reasons. That's why and in the longer run, in 7 years down, I can tell you, it's proven to be a good bet. Because we have everything in control, and it's a dream. Of course, scaling and all will be a challenge from here, but so far so good.
But I'm glad you took control because I think designing your own apparel and managing the IP, like you said, there's a lot of plagiarism. What stops a manufacturer that you source from? He can actually give it to the local market too if he needed it, right? I've seen
Which
this in a
happened.
lot. I can tell you about a large sari brand, I mean a corporate brand, and I find the same designs in say a smaller shop in Chennai maybe or Bangalore maybe, and my wife would complain saying, "Oh, you bought this for such an expensive item that you brought me, and here it is, the same designs available in a smaller shop." And that's when men get crestfallen. You get what I'm saying? So it is true. So plagiarism is real, right? Even in your context, it's copies. We call that copies in a manufacturing world. Why is
And you
there no
can't stop
IP there?
it.
Why is there no IP there?
Because the IP laws are so weak, and it's such a busy market. A fun fact: 3 months back, I was traveling overseas, and I went to a tourist market. And what I'm wearing right now, the dress that I'm wearing right now, this and another dress of ours was stacked up row after row,
Line. Yeah.
like cut to cut. They didn't even bother to change anything. And I go and it's like, ma'am, this is boutique quality. This is really good. And this and that, it is all coming from China. So they changed all our handcrafts into digital printing, like poor digital copies, and they were
Yeah.
being sold in a overseas tourist market. How would you and I made a joke and a post about it, and I said, see, this is what happens. But IP laws are not so a strong, and b, they are expensive. As a young, we have tried, and we actually have applications and stuff for a lot of stuff on copyrights and stuff. But the thing is that how many designs will you copyright, and especially if so many questions keep coming back, and so many, so how many, like as a brand we launch about what, 30 to 40 new pieces a month. Now imagine, as a young brand, where do I focus? Do I focus in all of these things, or do I focus more in building my business? So what you do is that you own up your product so well that people start associating you with that product, and that's your win. And I think that's the only way you can go about. Has Louis Vuitton been able to stop it? No, right? So
How big is your manufacturing line today? You said 5 floors.
how
How big in a sense? What's the capacity?
What's the capacity? We can easily go up to doing about 50, 60,000 garments a month or more.
Yeah, and obviously you're going to increase it over time. I want to now
Yeah,
talk about how did you market it? Yes, you sorted the design process. Shout out to your design team. How big is it? How big is
so
your
we
design
work
team?
with a lot of, so design team, we are about three of us within full time. And then we have worked with a lot of freelance designers, and that's on purpose. Now, even though the brand can afford to extend the in-house team, the reason I don't do that is because you're always looking for a fresh perspective. So you have people who are your foundation of your team, and then you get designs from, we also get designs not just from India. We do license designs from overseas also a lot of times. So yeah.
Okay, great. So now marketing it at that point of time, 15, 14, 15, so, how did you start marketing? Did you start doing D2C immediately, hosting it on one of these e-commerce platforms, or did you do your own website at the time? Did you host it on Shopify or some kind of allied e-commerce, apps that, were coming in at the time? How did you start?
So we were always a D2C brand. Our first dipstick was an exhibition, and that's where we started. We started as a home decor brand, to be very honest with you, till 2019, and it was a home decor and home textiles brand. It was in 2020 that clothing and apparel was introduced to the brand, and we started with our own website. The idea was never to go on marketplaces. We are still not on any marketplaces. We are an exclusive selling platform in terms of our website and our stores. We have a few select marketplaces with a select inventory and capsules, but for the most part, it is a purist model. And the marketing, it's been an Instagram brand, right? It's been a Facebook and an Instagram brand. And if 10 years back, you and I were sitting and we spoke that these two platforms are going to take over our lives, and how people would have laughed off. But that is the reality. A lot of that 1 trillion opportunity, I think half of it would be determined by these platforms, these two and more. So yeah, we started marketing from there, and marketing was your traditional marketing. You get the product, you tell about the product. I think what separated us right from the beginning was, or what set us apart was actually what our mission statement was, that we wanted to change the narrative. We wanted people to know that handcrafts can be looked at in this way also, and good design is accessible too. And India, it's unapologetically an Indian brand, and so we just started doing a whole lot of storytelling, and that continues to date.
Okay. Now it takes me to the next question, which is loyalty and mindshare, right? You were Instagram first, of course, like you said, or Facebook first, like you said. How do you start? You get influencers to talk about the product, and then build mindshare, build loyalty, because there's so much experimentation is a good thing. India being a young country, they experiment with a lot of brands. but how do you keep mind share for quality in terms of product? Obviously, you've solved it. I can already see that passion in you. But how did you manage the brand mind share? How tough is it in this world where everybody's eating each other? It's a difficult world, especially in a platform. Advertising is dominated by Google, Facebook, right? Obviously, Instagram belongs to Facebook, and you can do WhatsApp marketing. You can if you want, you can try some kind of. You've not done video yet, right? You've done YouTube ads yet?
Yeah, we're doing
You've done all
everything.
that, right? So
We're
how
very
does
big on video.
so yeah, absolutely. How do you plan that out to say mind share great content, that results in great sales. If that is the nature of the game today, it must have been harder for you till you established the brand in the beginning. Now goes back to your early journey. Can I survive the first 365 days? Can I survive the second year? Once that is set, people have a brand recall and then they start buying your product. Can you talk about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, see, okay, Vishal, there are a lot of these management fundas about how to retain customers, and I'll tell you something that defines everything that I've done in the 7 years. I love my customer. Love, and I don't say it lightly. I'm a self-funded business. I've not taken a penny of debt from anywhere to date.
Or have you taken any VC money? No, no.
No VC, no bank, no parents, no friends, no family, nothing. Okay, nothing. And I want to, just because this question comes so often, and I'm like, no, there's no money. But somewhere money came from, right? The business backrolled itself. Somewhere it did. And it did because of the customers. So credit is due there. And that's been, so everything we do it for them. They are my biggest celebrities. Yes, you see a lot of celebrities wearing Pinklay, and I'm super grateful and thankful. But those guys sit at the center stage for me. So when you talk about loyalty, we know them. I know so many of them personally. Now I lose a track, but I still try to. We understand them, or at least we try to understand them. It's a work in progress. We communicate with them like we would with a friend. If this brand tomorrow becomes 100, 200, 300, 500 crore, there's just one thing. People talk about scale and all of that. All that I know will come, product and this and that. What I really want this brand to maintain is its personalization. If I open my personal Instagram and show you the messages, I at least receive 2 to 3 personal mails every day, which say things like, Pinklay feels home, or your clothing gave me hope, or the fact when I'm upset I just go to your page and there is so much happiness happening there, or the fact that the number of times I hear about our staff, their names, there isn't, not even the warehouse manager, our customers would know who are the 5 6 people in the warehouse doing stuff. So when you talk about loyalty, it all boils down to the customer. It is very difficult to retain the attention span, right? And you are not going to retain all 100. That's a given. But there are some people who have found an anchor in you. Now it is on you to hold on to that anchor. How do you do that? You do that by empathy, by knowledge, by communication. And then there are hard things like product, pricing, how you show it. All of those are hygiene factors. But there's a very big value to the EQ in a business that we don't talk about often.
So that's basically, I mean, once they become loyal customers, you communicate with them regularly. And that's how, and it's a word of mouth brand. Did you use any influencers at all? Were they expensive, Daisy? No. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, it's interesting. You have not taken money from parents. You've not taken any debt so far. I'm so happy that there's somebody who's saying this, and you've not taken VC money. I'm even more happier, especially and the media mind share as well. A lot of the people do PR, and it's so heartening to see you doing business before anything else, right? So how did you manage that scale? I mean, what are your revenues at this point of time? You can, if you don't want to reveal it, give me a ballpark. And how did you plan towards that? Because you need to be sustainable, right? How did you plan towards that, Daisy? Because not many people can say that I have not taken debt. Not many people can also say that they have not, gone to VCs.
Okay. So we count our revenue in double-digit crores. So, it's not bad revenue. Of course, it is not your 100 CR and all, but I'm not driven by that. And if I'm not driven by that, it doesn't. I'm driven by
Values.
making a brand. Yeah, I'm driven by making a brand that people want to come back to. And if the answer is affirmative to me, like I'm anal about that, you know. And also I want to enjoy this journey. I don't want to feel tired building Pinklay. Every morning I get up, I'm in the shower and I'm like five new things I want to do. So
So
that's what I'm doing.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So not major influencers that come and say, I'll change your brand, I'll talk about it, then hundreds of people buy it. No, it's pure product driven. That's what you're saying.
It's product and it's story driven. See, but again, the thing is that why no influencers? Not to say that influencers do not have a place, they have a very important place. Content creators are big, but a business that has to bankroll itself has to come up with innovative ways to push itself. It is that majboori. It's the outcome of it's a necessity of survival of businesses like ours, and I'm sure we are not the only one. So a lot of people actually we gift all the time. People buy from us also. A lot of your influential people buy from us. We gift. If they post, we repost and all of that. The reason we don't have all of that so much money to give, because we don't have money. There are priorities, right? As far as what you said, that you focused on making a business, what other option did I have? I had to make this business profitable. I am right now have a staff strength of about 30 plus people permanent. And then I have artisans which go on the peak time close to 800, 900. What other option do I have? So the focus is to make the business. Also, brands double up for content creators. We do all the time, right? We show our own clothes, we talk about our own clothes, our people do the storytelling at the end of the day. And then of course you have paid marketing, you have performance marketing on Facebook and Instagram. That has always been the key to growth also.
Daisy, you talked about performance marketing. As a content creator, and I appreciate the fact that you're a content creator yourself in your earlier avatar as a journalist. Content creation's changed a lot. What is performance marketing? I sometimes see a lot of these young brands going to a digital marketing person, and that person promises them the world. They say, write your blogs regularly, do some small videos. Let's go on Instagram. Let's go on Facebook. Let's do something on LinkedIn. Sometimes then the entrepreneur gets fed up. They say that it's really not working out as ROI in terms of sales. So you should talk about what performance marketing really is. Now should one convert, that piece of content into a sale? Does that happen at all?
Oh, of course it happens. If it didn't happen, brands like ours would crash. No. So, performance marketing, as I understand, and I've not read the official definition and all, performance marketing is basically a mix of marketing on different channels that you push out to see a certain ROAS on it, return on investment, right? Why is it called performance? Because, of course, that marketing content has to perform to create a desired output. So that's what it is. Now, what are the big channels of performance marketing, paid ads, as you call it, as we go after? It would be your entire meta businesses, all your meta businesses. So it would be your Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Advertising is not a thing right now, but if it was, then you have your articles, in-stream ads, what you see, and then you have Google, which is the other giant, where you have search ads, shopping ads, remarketing ads, etc. Right? So you create a bunch of content, and that content could be the photos, videos, text, testimonials, etc. And you push them out there. You put a certain amount of money, bases your objective, and you just see it perform, and you keep tweaking it until it reaches a certain point of return, right? Now, in terms of returns, yes, returns have diminished over the years, especially from last year onwards. It's gotten very tough. That space has gotten very, very challenging. And I'm quite sure if you're speaking to D2C brands, you would have heard this before also. So, like, say a brand that was turning in 8 to 10x till last year of its money would be turning less than 4x this year. It's to do with a mix of things, because COVID was a very different time, like, to compare COVID, and that understanding we've also arrived at now, that it's not fair to compare today's consumption versus COVID consumption. The dynamics were very different, mindsets were different, and also, of course, the platforms itself are evolving. So that is basically, in a nutshell, performance marketing. You create content for it to turn a certain number for you.
Yeah, and of that certain number, a lot of and that stickiness results to sales. What, 5%, 10% conversion is a good one, or it's 2%?
It completely depends on what your product dynamic and what your GM is, right? So I know of brands personally who are flourishing at 2x, because that's their margin, and then there are some brands that cannot do less than 10x. So I see these numbers a lot, and honestly, there's no yardstick, तो हाँ, जितना ज़्यादा होगा amazing होगा, but come on, let's get real. Somebody who's working, who's making a product of 1 rupee but is being able to sell at 20 rupees, can do at 1:2. But somebody who's just doing a 3x, which is your standard, or 2x, which is your standard on retail today, you can't do less than 5, 6x. Okay? And also, that is just one part of your sales. No, you are just looking at that as one channel. Then you're also having to do your organic, your influencer, your word of mouth, how you divide your money in terms of how many new people you want versus what is your repeat rate. A lot of things matter. So, in terms of your performance marketing, I think for a handcrafted lifestyle brand, if you're doing anywhere between a 4 to 6, you're good. You're in the clear.
That's amazing. So you had to set all this by your learning, or did you hire somebody to do this for you?
Okay, so we hired, and we didn't have the best of experience. Okay, and me and even my co-founder, we are very hands-on people. Okay, and sometimes we say that's the reason why we are not scaling at the speed we should, but we like to know things ourselves. So I understand performance marketing. Of course, we have a team and everything, but I understand ins and outs of it. And also, if you reach a certain level of spend with both these platforms themselves give you help. And I think a lot of people don't appreciate that. Like, so that's that. Then I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of agencies out there who actually deliver successful results. We've just not had that experience, but I know a lot of people have had. So it completely depends on what your structure is and where you want to put your mind share as a
Absolutely.
founder.
I mean, if you compare the whole brands, I was reading a few reports that what took a brand 30 years to breach 100 crores can be done in less than 15 years now. It's a very interesting time that we live in, and like you said, India is developing. People are consuming a lot more, but it's also the way you market things that has changed, right? Daisy, you see that every day. It's the current day marketers need to understand the subject we just spoke about. Is that what you're anal about as well? That, look, I need to understand, or the reason I ask you this is, should entrepreneurs be cognizant of these aspects that have changed in business? Because you've also started stores now. We're getting into the stores in the next part of the question. But I want you to tell me, in the digital world, should entrepreneurs understand what we just spoke about? Otherwise, would they be left behind?
I mean, it's non-negotiable, Vishal.
Wow.
It's a
Wow.
non-negotiable.
You can't
Right?
just have a website running, e-commerce running. You need to play this game of pushing the right content out there for people to come read and then shop.
What is my job? This is how I understand my job description. I am the chief storyteller and the chief seller of the company.
As a
Is that
founder,
correct?
period.
As a
Right.
founder, right?
Yes.
Nobody can sell this story better than I can. And if somebody is doing that job better than me, then damn me, you know. And to do that, I need to understand the game. And a lot of times I really work hard to understand. Look, a lot of things are evolving now, like, trends, reels. I try to keep up. So it's not that I know it all, but I try to learn. I try to learn and I try to be part of the game. A lot of times, I see my generation, people away from my generation also get a little cynical about these platforms. Superficial hai, ye hai, wo hai. But ye game hai. Either you're in it or you're not in it. If you ask me personally, do I really enjoy likes, follows, and all of that? It's exhausting. Something that was so much fun, and photo sharing and sharing with friends and family has become a reason of everyday stress, morning, evening, night. But it is also the reason why 1,000 families are getting paid well month after month. So let's take it, let's understand these platforms. As founders, we need to know and we need to put our skin in the game. So, yeah, definitely.
No, that's really well said, and I hope all entrepreneurs listening to this. Do you think D2C is about plateaued, or is it still scaling up, 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 up? You see more brands and more. I see a lot of college pass outs coming and saying, 5 years ago, people would go and do D2C T-shirts. Okay, I mean, 6 years ago, I'm talking about. That was how nascent the industry was. But today, it's a little more mature. Has it plateaued out, or is it still got room for more?
I don't know, Vishal. I mean, I hear this D2C, everybody saying, and I'm like, okay, so sometimes I'm like, okay, hum bhi D2C hai na? Matlab D2. For me, it's very simple. It's direct to consumer. We are making something. We don't have any middlemen. We don't have too many channels to cut, and we are directly going to the consumer. That's going to increase. That's going to increase for two reasons. One, by market pressures, because you can't have too many channels, too many layers. You can't afford. You are working on a very small margin. E-commerce means very thinning margins. So the more layers you will add, the more you will the more away you would be from flourishing, right? So you will have to go direct to consumer. And also, this world is equally about uh, content, consuming as much as it is about the product consumption. So if you really want to go out, tell your story, you will have to go directly. So it's going to increase. That's the market compulsion. Also, consumers want to deal with you directly. They don't want to go through, they want to know you. That's why there is so much fixation. Just to digress a little bit, but when I was growing up, uh, and say even when I was in college, I really didn't know who the founder of Pantaloon was. I didn't know, and I cared less.
That was the time when I was writing heavily on retail. So yeah,
but as a consumer, I didn't know. I just thought there is this big company that makes beautiful clothing, and I go buy. Do you see the amount of founder fixation, or it's amazing. It's amazing. They have to like you to like your product.
It's become like that.
Dynamic. Yeah, it's a different dynamic altogether, right? So yeah, I mean,
it's a real strange world. But yeah, but when did do a lot of people ask for an app from Pinklay?
For an app?
Yeah. Do you have an app at this point of time, or it's just a web app kind of thing where I go to the Chrome browser and just
website? Yeah, website.
Yeah. So and it's your own e-commerce engine. You built it on your own, so fantastic. So you invested.
Shopify, but yeah, it's a brand on its own. Yeah.
So you've got a tech team going for this brand. The analytics is done based on obviously consumer likes, seasons, churns, turns, whatever they call it in the Apple word. Yeah, you've got a data analytics team also.
I want to really simplify it for a lot of brands there, because in my journey, when I was starting, entrepreneurs used to say a lot of jargon, and I used to get scared that I'm not well placed for it. I'll break it down for you. For a lot of entrepreneurs out there who are starting out, the platforms that are there today, like your Google, your Shopify, they make it very easy for you to read data. and Facebook. So you really don't need a data analytics team. What you need is a marketing team that is in queue with numbers, that wants to know numbers, that wants to understand trends. There are a lot of softer trends also. So you really don't need to, have, okay, this. We have a very flat structure. We have a marketing team of 6 people. In that, you have video, you have this, you have that. We outsource work also. We hire people who are just generally curious to know. But in today's day and age, these platforms, and especially compared to the 7 years back, we started on WordPress. It was a lot of work, but now Shopify and other such platforms have made it so easy. So the tough worry about the tougher part as a new entrepreneur, which is selling your story. Worry about the competition on Instagram and Facebook and to differentiate there. Worry about getting the right product to the customer in time. But other things, no, accounts, logistics, tech, uh, everything, even finding offices, on share basis, time share basis, all of these things, our ecosystem is very conducive today. I'm just putting it out there because it gets overwhelming. I have this, I have this, I have this, and you're like, when will I reach there? No.
How many stores have you opened so far, and how are you expanding across India?
It began in 2018 serendipitously in Bombay. There's a coffee shop we used to go to and a bookstore often. There was a space there, a small space right in center of Bandra that was lying vacant because the person who had signed up was acting a little difficult for the owners. And because we used to go there often, they happened to tell actually my husband, I was not even there. They told him that this is the thing. And he just called me and he's like, do you want to come down and see the space? And I'm like, for what? And he's like, we'll open a store. And I said, we'll open a store. Are you mad? We'll open a store. We're just in Bandra, right in center of the most expensive real estate. He's like, yeah, we'll open it. We'll see. And I think that's how we are as people. And we just opened a store. And it did well. So then we said, okay, we want to open more stores because, we are building an experiential brand. This brand needs to be experienced. We said we'll open 3 more stores, but then pandemic hit. So this store just kind of was, I think, 9 or 10 months old into existence when pandemic hit. And we couldn't open any stores. Then we opened our second store, which is a very big store, which is a flagship store in Bangalore, Indiranagar, in earlier this year. And now we are opening a third store, which is also a big store in another metro. And then by next year, we should have 2 more stores. So we should have 5 stores, hopefully by next year.
I'm glad you're doing this because you can never ignore the physical retail element in India. They still say that e-commerce is still about 20% of the total organized market or something, right? It's very interesting. That means retail penetration in an organized manner is not more than 20% even today. Of that 20%, they say e-commerce is 20 to 25%. I don't know. These are numbers from 2019, of course. Must have changed drastically during the COVID. What's the situation like? I mean, the reason is, for me, stores are very important to experience, right? My generation may be experiencing the brand in a store and then probably move online afterwards. What are some of the dynamics for the stores today? I mean, how would they blend with the digital world?
Depends on your product. It depends on your product and what you're building. I can talk about Pinklay. At Pinklay, we are building an experiential product. We don't see that it'll always be a digital first brand because that's the way to go. But it feeds into one another. So it's not to say it's offline or online. Both kick in together to create an experience for us. And so that's why for us, a unicommerce strategy, omni-channel strategy makes a lot of sense because it also gives credibility to your product online. And like you said, there still are a lot of people who want to go and experience a product. I also strongly believe that physical retail or offline retail is not dead or not on a decline, but uninteresting retail is on a decline. So you have to work that much harder to it's not just about setting stores. The reason why it took us a year to open the third store, we honestly had the means. We could have opened three stores, four stores, but we were so bullish about where we want to open, the road that we want to open, the designers that we want to get on board, how we want to do it. And that took some time for us to, but that is only because you have to make your retail experience also that much more rejuvenating, interesting. Yeah.
Okay, you want to talk about those two stores? You've launched one in Bombay, one in Bangalore, of course.
Yeah.
And how big are they in terms of square feet? In the old days, we used to measure them on the basis of square feet performance and like sales and all that. I think the digital world has just thrown that off the ladder. Like you said, there is an experience thing, and retail stores can be the experience side, but the real sales happen, digitally, of course. So what's been the stores like? I mean, what's the experience like? It's a large format store, small format store. How does that work? And do they
So
feed into your drop shipping strategy of sorts?
So for us, anything above 1,200 square feet is large for us. So large also has a thing. I mean, Walmart large, IKEA large is a different large. So let's just say for us,
That's like
1,200.
super large. That's that. Let's not get
Yeah,
into
for
that. That's
us,
something that's
yeah, and especially places that we are wanting to open, right? Like your Indranagar, Banjara Hills, Bandra, your South Delhi, things like that. So where we are trying to open, for us, anything above 1,200 square feet is large. We have arrived. We are very happy. So we at least. At Pinklay, we don't see things by channel. We don't see things by channel. We see revenue as a whole. And I think that's really important to run the company in tandem. Otherwise, something will get lost. And we are a small company, so we are able to do that. Maybe tomorrow, when we have 12 stores and we need to really, work out our strategy separately, then we will start seeing numbers separately. But of course, we look at numbers at store level. But as a revenue, we look as a whole that, this is online and offline. And in terms of square feet, no, we don't measure by square feet. I simply, for me, a very simple math, you can say it's my personal thing, is rent to yield. So if I'm above 6x, 7x of that, I'm in the clear. I'm like, okay, ye possible hai, ye ho sakta hai. It's the same thing. I think if you there are and this is, please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to trivialize numbers, because that's all that matters a lot, and a lot of people like to spend a lot of time. For me, I just look at a few things, and if those few things are looking fine, and I know that the business is in the plus, and everybody is getting their incentives, everybody is getting this, inventory levels are at a certain level, because in retail, people can really go wrong with inventory. Like bad inventory management can shut shop for you. So when I see all of those things and macros, and I think those are working fine, if I see something is wrong, then I get into a micro. But more or less see the whole picture once a month, and it's all okay.
no that these are wonderful answers for me. Thank you. I mean, we spoke about the marketing mistakes that entrepreneurs can make, and we also spoke about you can outsource a lot of things today. But in retail, like you said, even inventory management is very important. I've met a lot of founders who start gungo with a brand, and then 2 years down the line they close down. And I've met people. These are people who have worked in BCG or Deloitte or some of the large companies who start up and they fail. It's interesting. That means retail is a leveler, right? You can totally lose your shit. What are the typical mistakes that entrepreneurs make?
In retail, I think
Or rather, let's say, what mistakes have you made that you were able to bounce off from, Daisy? That'll be better to understand, because things that could have shut your company down.
In retail, going overboard with inventory can really, really, really put pressure on you. It can really, really put pressure on you. So, a lot of people do that, because when you do a certain quantity, you get a 10% or 15%. From the beginning, we've been okay, we'll take that 10%, 15% setback, but we will only make so much. We will figure out that what is working, and then we will scale. Of course, it has its pitfalls. Sometimes a product which you've only made 100 pieces off goes on to sell 2,000 pieces, and you're like, okay, now here I have a bumper crop and I don't have the crop to give. So what do I do? But inventory management is very, very important. So, and we are still work in progress, to be very honest with you. We now are putting systems, some very expensive systems in place, so that next year or the year after we scale or more stores come in, things are seamless. So that is one thing that I think retail businesses. The other thing that is a personal beef point is, I think, people think that price is the only strategy in today's retail, especially e-commerce. ऐसा नहीं है. You know, ये GMV है, I need to be 100 crore, 200 crore, and great, great. But why are you in a business? You're in a business to make money, to create value. I understand when people talk about big value creation and money creation. And look, I mean, scale has its own challenges, and people who've been able to do it, wow. But every entrepreneur doesn't need to start with that, no? Like you need to, I know there's a lot of glamour in saying 100, 200, 300, 500, IPO and all of that. We all understand that. But at the end of the day, whatever your business is doing, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 5 crores, 10 crores, it needs to make money for you, for people you hire, etc. Right? So I feel, but that doesn't happen because people think I want to sell more. To sell more, they downgrade the product so much and they only compete on price. I feel personally, I don't think I can ever pull that off. I don't think so. And this entire strategy that today I will give you for 1,000 rupees, but when you get used to it, I will make it 2,000. I don't know for whom this has worked. Unless you are an Uber and Ola, where you become a lifestyle necessity, where people, for a discretionary product like mine, if today I won't give it to you for 1,000 rupees, there are a lot of others who are in the game who will give it to you for 1,000 rupees, right? So I think you don't have to overprice, but you have to price fairly and honestly, so that your business may take 5 years more to reach that mark, but it would have built value, real value, not a fly by the night show, and value not just for you, but the 1,000 people who are working for you. Yeah.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense to me. And Daisy, I want to ask you now, what's your opinion on all this? I mean, nothing against those people who raise money. They should raise money and they've done well. Why haven't you done it? Have you actively had people coming and saying, we want to invest with you? Or have you declined investments? Or is it a hard road? Or do you realize that it's difficult, or it's a different nature going to VCs? So you rather build this to go IPO at some stage, like a proper SME going IPO. What are some of your thought processes? Because by now you've survived 7 years. You have been doing this for a while now, right? You might as well go raise money from. That's the flavor of the season. And people also talk IPOs, by the way, right? So what do you want to do? What are your plans for the next 18 months? Of course, those store launches will happen. Your D2C, your offerings will increase. You offer, obviously, we did, kids clothing as well, right? And even some furnishings, right? So what are some of the thought processes for you when it comes to raising money?
So in the last 2 years, we've been fortunate to have some people, some really, really influential people in the industry who've come and approached us. And we have also, we have had dialogues, but so far, I was just trying to understand where this brand is going. Today, I can tell you, yes, we're not one of those rocket speed people. In fact, we were going against the tide till 2020 by doing only one category, which is a flat growth category, which is your home. We actually pivoted in 2020. And so it's just 2 years. The brand's real age is 2 years when it went all out, in risk taking and everything. 2 years, that's it. So I first wanted to understand, what am I doing? We've had so many offers of franchisees and stuff. And we said, no, let's open 5 of our own stores, make them profitable, understand the model, and then get more people involved. And the same thing is to money raising also. I'm not against money raising, but I'm more bullish on fruitful partnerships. Pinklay above everything for me. above me also, right? It's a brand that I want should outlast us also or anybody. So when we find the right people who understand what we are trying to do and help us take that journey, sure, please, but just for the heck of raising money, that's not something that I'm going to do today or even 10 years later. I also want to tell a lot of entrepreneurs out there, and especially if you are a young entrepreneur and you're cash crunch, um, just to have my options open. In the last 2 years, I have explored. There are so many SME loans, collateral-free loans that you can get for your business. We've not taken any, but I know that there are, and bank debt, traditional debt, is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So you don't always have to sell out your business to get money, especially you don't realize what your business is going to mean 5 years later. So stay with it, and so that's us. And in as far as money is concerned, raising money is concerned. So no, we are not close to it, but we are looking for more than just money, a vision, and definitely not building this company from the point of view of an exit.
Got
Not
it.
today.
That was the
Not,
answer I was looking for.
yeah. We're not building this. I have never. This business is being made to stay, and continue making value. So that's the idea. In terms of what was the other question that you
IPO,
asked?
IPO. Do you want to go IPO at all?
SME IPO I'm very fascinated about because, but again, these are things that I think another can wait for 2, 3 years.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. Categories, quickly on the categories, kids' clothes, clothing, home furnishings, and accent furniture. You are going to increase your product range in all of these things?
Women clothing is the
Okay.
biggest.
Okay. Yes, that's why I didn't bring it up. I know women
Yeah.
clothing is the biggest, but
Women
you also do
clothing,
kids. You also do
kids, and
home furnishings. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I want to become an entirely lifestyle brand, so hopefully we'll have something for you also soon enough. I mean, it's something that
I am going
I'm
to
very
check you up on that store when you come to Bangalore.
absolutely. So it's something that I want to make it a full lifestyle store, so whatever it takes. But categories that we won't enter into anytime soon are food, personal care, because they have a certain life. They're
Yeah.
perishable, and I don't want to get into. I have enough pressure on me. I don't want to get into things which really require a lot of pressure to sell. So no, so things that have a certain shelf life, but entire lifestyle.
Okay. What's the age group of women that shop on Pinklay?
Anywhere between, say, mostly would be 25 to 45.
Okay. Now, my last question, and these are the easy questions. I'm sure you'll answer them with a breeze. Who influenced you a lot in your life? Books, pieces of art, music, movies, or anybody that guided you through this process of not just entrepreneurship, through your time from college to now? What were you inspired by? And what are you being inspired by as we speak? Some knowledge, tips of knowledge that we can also go buy these books or pieces of art. And if they're too expensive, I'll wait for a while.
No, I used to read a lot, and like the God of Small Things is one of my favorite books. The Little Prince is one of my favorite books. A lot of books by Vikram Sheth are. I used to read a lot, but I don't read books anymore. I read a lot of excerpts. Like I would read, Harvard Business Review blogs a lot. I would read a lot of quotes. I read a lot of stories of people. So. Every day things inspire me. Whenever I interview people, and we interview a lot, my co-founder asks them about the technical parts, I ask them about their life stories, and you will be surprised how ordinary people on everyday basis inspire you. Just yesterday, quickly, we had a girl for an operations role who told me that she does road trips. I said, how? She said she takes a bike. And the most recent, she traveled from Bombay to Kerala and came back. I said, which bike? She said, scooty. I said, scooty. She said, scooty.
Now
I
that's
said,
something of perspective. You got a scooty from all the way from Bombay to Kerala. Oh God.
Kerala,
Okay.
girl. And what she said after was hit home. You know what she said? I said, you went with somebody? She's like, just one friend. I said, and you were okay. She's like, I've learned one thing in life, that when you keep waiting for people, they keep telling you, I'll do it, aunga, 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 ruko, ruko. You will be the one who will be at the loss. Aap latak jaoge is what she said. She's like, I believe in if you really want to do something, Get out and do it. You are your own person. So I meet people on everyday basis everywhere that teach me, and I think all of us are surrounded by these people. But that's that. Where I find my optimism, my stress busters and stuff is none of the things that you said. Music definitely, but other than that, animals. I work a lot with animals, with strays, and I have my own pets, and they give me a perspective in life that no human, no book, uh, nothing worldly gives me, and I really enjoy that part of my life.
And when you said a little princess, was it this old classic by Hodgson Burnett? Is that the one,
No,
or
this is the Little Prince, right? That's
the
that
Little
by
Prince?
French.
Okay, I said
Yeah,
I
is
heard it
it?
as princess. So, but
No,
okay,
Little
I'll
Prince.
I'll, I'll put the name of the author in the description. This is the Little Prince, right?
I'll send you the name. I'll send you the book. It's a
Send it to me.
small book,
And
but
it's interesting, right? I mean, for you, values matter more than anything. You want to build a long-lasting brand, and for you, you're saying that Pinklay matters more than yourself, that it continues to exist. If not, that means you're not looking for an exit, but you still want to make sure that you take this brand forward any which way you can, through the management later on. But that's great. It's what makes you think like this? This is very old-fashioned thinking. That was my last question. A lot of people today are built to exit. Why are you building something to last, and that too, you're saying that it has to build value for every other family that works with you?
the impact. I believe there should be something in life that is more than us. And I'm very fortunate, Vishal, that I've always been taken care of. I mean, I have a car, I have a house, I have a loving family. I really can order anything I want on Zomato. I can travel the world, and it's cool. But I feel very, very overwhelmed when I see that things move because this brand exists. I'm very it's not old school. It's that it's in COVID, people had walked up and said, हमारा पूरा क्लस्टर, मैम आपको पता नहीं है कि आपने क्या किया, हम लोग 14 फैमिलीज का पूरा क्लस्टर इसलिए खाया पूरा एक साल बिकॉज ये ब्रांड था. And that's very gratifying for me. Finally, exits, IPO, funding, all of that. What is business? You put an X amount, you yield an X amount out. उसके आगे पीछे मुझे stand of business. So if a business is not making value for me and is not upgrading my life and is not upgrading the life of people who are joining this business is doing something wrong.
Got it.
And I want to sleep with a clear conscience. Everybody's paid. Nobody is bugging me for money. That is not a currency I want to talk about. No.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And I wish you all the best in this journey. I'm going to meet you in Bangalore soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, go check out Pinklay. What's the name of the website? Go on, Daisy, say it. Let them go check it out.
Pinklay.com if you are in India, world.pinklay.com if you are anywhere around the world.
And they do ship globally, so just go check them out and support them. Obviously, if you're a young lady, go check them out. It's also, if you're a young lady with kids, you can still go check them out. And if you're a guy trying to impress your girl with some good home furnishings, you can check them out too. But I'm waiting for them to start the male section of their offerings very soon. She says, I'll check upon her next year and tell you about it. Thank you so much, Daisy.
Thank you so much, Vishal, for having me.